As employment attorneys, we often get questions about how employers can better improve their documentation. Documentation is obviously key for us since it's going to help us in litigation and help you as employers to settle cases faster or win the cases at trial. The documentation is actually for a few people. It's for you as the employer because your memory's not very good. For a lot of us, how can we remember what we even had for lunch last Tuesday, much less what happened a year or two ago for an employee who may have only been with you for a few months? The documentation is also for the employee. We're setting expectations with this documentation, and if we set proper expectations with the employee, they probably don't sue you to begin with. But if they do, the documentation is then for me as your lawyer so that I can represent you better, so I understand better the context of what happened, how it happened, and when it happened. And finally, it's for the fact finder of the case, whether that's BOLI, a judge, or a jury. Now, if they come in and they see your documentation, they are people, and like most people, we tend to believe what we see in writing, just because it's written down. We want to include a few things in documentation. We want to include what the issue is. What did the employee get wrong, and how did they get it wrong? What's the expectation, and how did we set that expectation? And finally, what are the consequences if they don't improve? We really want to ensure that we include the consequence piece because a jury is going to want to hear that you told the employee they could be fired if they didn't correct this issue. Finally, we want to include the date of the documentation and what happened and when it happened, because if it's undated, it's a lot less helpful to us in litigation. No, you don't need to give all documentation to your employees. In fact, in most cases, I wouldn't, especially if it's a verbal warning or a coaching session that you're giving to your employee. To give them the documentation would seem, from an employee perspective, that you're making a mountain out of a molehill. But there are times where you do have to give them all the documentation that you have in your file related to their performance. If an employee asks for their personnel file, under Oregon law, you've got 45 days to produce it. As employers, I know that you don't have a lot of time for documentation. We're all really busy. So I want to make this as easy as possible for you to document. You don't need complicated forms to be able to do it. You just need email. You can email yourself or create an HR inbox where you and your managers can send the documentation to. You can get the issue, the expectation, and consequences in an email and send it off, and it's always saved. So we always have it because it's on your server, and it's automatically dated. So creating easy steps that you and your company can use is going to be key for you to make sure to get this done and done well. We all know that documentation is really important. It's important for you as the employer. It's important for us to be able to set expectations for our employees. And then it's important, most importantly, for us as lawyers to defend you later. If you have any questions about documentation or you need other help, contact us at Saalfeld Griggs. Can help you as employers. I should have said you. All right. As you want to keep going? It's really difficult to get the time to find that because I'm going to need to defend you later. That sounded very informal when I said it. I know I flubbed a lot of those things.